Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for One Piece Chapter 1056. I know it's been a week late, I've had a very busy couple weeks, but when we last left our heroes, the fight with Aramaki was continuing as the heroes of Wano were not doing great. The Momo expressed why he did not want Yamato to win the fighting, believing that because Yamato was A, a straw hat, and B, that Momo had these big shoes to fill as the Shogun of Wano, it had to be Momo who fought back against Aramaki and saved the country. And he tried his best. He got out a good, Kaido-style Bolo Breath attack, but he didn't quite succeed in beating Aramaki until Shanks, from way outside the country's borders, came in with his haki to sort of stun, terrify Aramaki just by the sheer force of his power alone. Leaving Aramaki to sort of book it, leave Wano, our heroes finally get to celebrate for real. Meanwhile, Sukiyaki takes Law and Robin into the underground of Wano to find the road poneglyph, and also shows them the original Wano at the base of the mountain. Like, these gates somehow rose up and flooded the original Wano. Wano had to retreat up to the mountaintops, very sort of Wind Waker style. And down there is both the road poneglyph they need to get to Laugh Tale, and Pluton, somewhere. So that will come into play in some way. We also learned that, Odin's goal of opening the country's borders would have meant unleashing Pluton upon the world, which, is a lot. We don't quite know why Odin wanted to do that, but it does give context as to why Momo did not. Meanwhile, back at the festival, we find out that Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei knew Aramaki was here, were sort of observing the fight from a distance, giving Momo a chance to prove himself, and Luffy noticed a very familiar presence in that haki, though he does not quite place who it is. So with that said, let's dive right on into Chapter 1056, Cross Guild. And for the first time since June, we continue with German 66's On a Motionless Excursion, Volume 15, Katakuri and Oven arrive. When we last left them, Germa had been leaving Whole Cake after freeing Niji and Yonji. Now they're being attacked by Katakuri, who is the first time you've seen him since, I do believe, the end of Whole Cake, and Oven, who is also there. We also found out last time that, Caesar is hiding in the background here, so that's something to keep in mind. But anyway, we open later in, the next day, I think, at the Flower Capital. The party in the Flower Capital is over. And I think this is, the reaction to the fight with Aramaki. Hang in there, Raizo! Just look how gaunt you are! Don't die, Shinobu! What terrible sorcery! And yet we see after being sucked dry by Aramaki, they're kind of on life support. As much as I hate to admit it, the man had a point. Kaido was a tyrant, but at the same time, his presence kept enemies away. I mean, yeah, but he was also Kaido keeping enemies away needs to sort of be, that idea needs to be softened by the notion that he was an enemy himself. He terrorized Wano much more than Aramaki did. And Kinemon has arrived and is, bowing profusely in shame. Alas, I am sorry. All of this was happening while I was away in Kuri, and I had no idea. Nekomamushi tells him, hey, what's done is done, and the damage was minimal, all thanks to Lord Momonosuke. And how was Otsuru? Because, we last saw him, he was finally reuniting with his wife for the first time in 20 years. But Kinemon tells them all, Okobore town burned to the ground, and Suru has a terrible burn on her face, but she is alive and well. And someone, I think we're still in the present, this is after Kinemon has left Okobore town. Oh, Tsuru, is it true? Has Kin come back? Yes, although he's returned to the capital for now. And this old woman tells Suru, you're from the capital too. You should go to him. I know. I want to be at his side too. And Kinemon is love struck, just so happy to be. It's what a wife guy. I have to say, for 20 years, she's still just as beautiful. And Inuarashi snaps at Kinemon, hey, dogs like cheese, but not that much cheese. That's just a weird fucking line. And Nekomamushi laughs, meow, row, row. And Kiku also kind of chuckles, that's so sweet, Master Kin. And Raizo, from his near deathbed, just murmurs, oh, wish I had a girl. Focus on your recovery, Raizo. And then Carrot comes in, still munching away on a bunch of kebabs. What's up? You called for me, Inuarashi? Nekomamashi? Inuarashi notes her, there you are, Carrot. Yugura will be the new king of Mokomo Dukedom. What? Huh? The king? Yay, sure thing! And then she finally, processes what he just said. Wait, king? No way, I can't do that! Okay, but if that does happen, I guess that does put to rest all the Carrot joining the Straw Hat theories that have been bouncing around for 5 years now. Because it's kind of hard to join the Straw Hats when you're ruling Zou. Inuarashi tells her, well, the truth is, Kat and I have decided to stay here in Wano and serve Lord Momonosuke, samurai of the Kozuki clan. At last, with the Kozuki's return, going back to their, original, before they were leading Zou roots. Rah. Yugura, one of the few who have been out to see the world, thanks to Luffy. That means you must have some of what we'll need in the next era. But there are so many people who are way stronger than me. And then the Three Musketeers come in. Of course there are. And our job is to protect the country. And also Wanda, who I don't think we've seen for... No, I think we saw Wanda during the Paraspero fight, right? I feel like that's the last time she was seen. But Wanda tells Carrot, I'll help you too. This was the Two Kings' decision, Carrot. But most importantly of all, your Teo heart carries Pedro's will in it. And that callback, which we have... this is a nice callback all the way to Pedro. Stops Carrot there. Pedro. And one of them, I can't quite tell, is it Nekomamashi who has the Gara effect, I think? Because whoever it is says, to sum it up, we're leaving Zou to Yugura young folks. And we have the shot of Zanisha headed back towards his normal spot in the ocean, I think. And then we got the Sukiyaki, I guess, because we still, after that shot of Zunisha, we have the establishing shot again of the castle. Grandfather, and we see Sukiyaki saying, yes, I am Odin's father. He's telling that to Momo and Hiyori, which is very interesting. As I recall, he had said he was never going to tell Momo that. So I'm curious what exactly changed his mind there? But they both sort of hug him. I'm sorry, children. I'm sorry. Thank you. You truly do look just like Odin, Momonosuke. Grandfather! And Momo tells him, we've lost our parents. Just knowing that another relative is still alive is such a relief. And Hiyori adds on, I feel the same way. Please don't apologize. Sukiyaki turns to the other samurai. I suppose you were all aware then? Kawamatsu just tells him, who would wear a Tengu mask when there is no festival? You do not seem like an ordinary blacksmith. And Kiku just laughs. We thought it would be rude to reveal it. But Sukiyaki tells them, I'm sorry to have put that burden on you. And then we get to Kinemon, who had no fucking clue, as is Kinemon's way. He was Lord Sukiyaki this whole time? I had no idea. I thought my heart was going to leap out of my chest. At least he's alive, though. That part's good. Good old Kinemon. That's a nice callback. Kinemon being clueless. But Sukiyaki tells them, I have things that I can teach you, but that is all I'm good for anymore. After that, please let me resume my seclusion from the public. This era is yours to build. And I guess that the things is the secret history of Wano, the underwater city, Pluton, all that shit. And Kinemon tells him, yes, sir, just knowing you're alive is a source of great strength. But then thinks, I'm still shocked. And then we got to somewhere in the city, with Frankie and Robin, as I guess Robin has told Frankie what she learned last chapter. What? Pluton is in this country? And Robin tells him, yes, I wasn't able to see it for myself, but it is here. And Frankie, given his particular history with the Pluton, responds, can't believe that thing actually exists. And Luffy's kind of not quite forgotten what Pluton is, but just questions, the one Frankie burned the plans for? He needs the slight reminder. That's right. The ancient weapon Pluton, which bears the name of a god. Do you want it, Luffy? Actually, for some reason, it's never quite crossed my mind. But, the fact that the ancient weapons bear the name of gods, and those gods are Greco-Roman gods. They're Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus are the three gods there that are real-world gods. I'm curious if that's going to lead to some kind of connection. Not quite sure. Like, I don't see, Oda pulling like a Fire Force here and saying this is actually millennia in our world's future or something. But it's an interesting thing. Like One Piece is so meticulous in its world building that the fact that the names of gods here are like actual real world gods does feel important. And like I know it's probably like the sort of thing that everyone has worked out like decades ago, but I don't know, it's still interesting to me. Anyway, I'm good. That's what I figured. But it makes me wonder, why did Odin want to unleash such a thing? Which, yeah, is the question we were all kind of wondering after the last chapter. And then someone comes in with Tama, who I don't know who this is. What was that? Did I hear you saying that a mature woman can be a devastating weapon? No one said that, but okay. And Frankie just snapped, who the heck are you? It's me, Shinobu. I'm just a little haggard from an accident. Okay, so, I mean, I guess, she's technically gaunter as a result of Aramaki's ability. I guess it's just like the road to recovery. But Sanji, of course, is all hard eyes. Really? You're so beautiful when you're haggard. And then Tama comes up to them. Hey, big bro, I'm Shinobu's apprentice now. I'm going to be real tough by the next time you see me. Then you can let me join your crew. And Nami, ever the great big sister to Tama, oh, Tama, you're too cute, goes like hug her. And Luffy tells her, sure, you can use ninjutsu by then. Hee. Going all, like, this is a chapter of a lot of, I mean, it's an end of arc chapter. So, like, of course it's full of, like, little callbacks here and there. But, like, going all the way back to Zou and Luffy's, like, excitement at the concept of a ninja. Good shit there. And they're all, like, celebrating. Yay! And then we see Caribou in the background. I guess freed from the prison mine. I don't believe it. Pluton's in Wano? First Poseidon. Now this? I gotta let a certain someone know about this. Oh no, we're have to think about Caribou now. Cause like, the certain someone, before I saw the certain someone line, I was gonna be, oh yeah, it's kinda interesting that like, we've been in countries that have had ancient weapons twice now. I thought it was Neptune, apparently it's Poseidon, my mistake. In Shirahoshi in Fishman Island, and now Pluton and Wano, the two arcs that heavily feature Caribou, or even somewhat feature Caribou. And it's a little interesting that Caribou pops up twice, and it's just in those arcs. But then there's that certain someone line. Who is Caribou? Like, who would he be working for? I'm trying to remember how exactly his flashback or his cover story ends. And I think it was just he gets hauled off by X Drake to Wano, setting up this whole arc, or his meager presence in this arc. Could he be working for someone? That was never the impression Caribou gave me. But I don't know. Anyway, we then cut to days later. The party's long since gone. Wano is starting to rebuild. Someone reports to Momo, Lord Shogun, we have the reconstruction plans from each domain now. So as for the funds needed, and Momo is, I guess, listening, but looks kind of downcast. As everyone calls Shogun, Lord Shogun, Shogun. Is this going to be he's still mentally 8 years old and he does not really have the, mental fortitude to lead a fucking country at age 8? Because, he doesn't really. He is 8 years old. And then, and there's this sort of it's not quite the same sort of thing I was alluding to just now, but there is this sense of, in this next panel, the top of page 10, hey, Zoro, would you teach me some sword fighting techniques? He looks like a kid there. He looks very sort of somber and, not, a little put upon when dealing with actual, running a country sort of things. And then he looks like a little boy here, which all adds this idea that he's just, not really an adult. Because he isn't, But he sees they're not in the room he expects them to be in. Luffy? Zoro? And he starts to get a bad idea that, it's about time for them to leave. And he runs through the castle. Oh, Nami? Usopp? Sanji? Chopperamon? Robin? Frankie? Bonkichi? Jinbei? Yamato? Where is everyone? He's like running all through the castle, can't find anyone. And then he hears the notes of a shamisen playing, and he sees Hiyori. Hiyori, have you seen Luffy's group anywhere? And Hiyori just tells him, they've left already. They said their goodbyes to everyone this morning. And there's Toko, now Hiyori's assistant. Or I think she was already Hiyori's assistant at the start of Wano, right? That was so long ago, who knows? I miss them. Ha 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 ha. And Momo is just stunned. Huh? But they said nothing to me. And Kinemon comes in. Lord Momonosuke. And Kinemon tells him, Kinemon, Luffy's gone. I just learned that myself. They said their goodbyes to everyone else, but why not us? Why not them, actually? I mean, maybe, you know, there's been like a part of my mind, given that like Oda has said that we're going into the final saga. I don't think it's really going to be true, but I've sort of in some ways seen kind of the greater Kaido saga from like Punk Hazard to now as sort of a post time skip answer to the Baroque Work saga. You know, with like sort of the, you know, a number of arcs all leading up to one big bad, an arc near the end that's like not super connected to the rest of the arcs. At least till Big Mom reappeared on Wano. They're traveling with royalty. There's a lot of connections with the whole Kaido saga to Baroque Works, and maybe this is akin to the goodbye to Vivi. I don't know, but like Vivi knew what they were doing. They didn't keep that a secret from her, like they are to Momo and Kinemon. But anyway, we cut to the port in Udon, where all three of the captains are arguing. As Law tells Luffy, pick a different day, Straw Hat. The alliance is over. We're enemies now. Yeah, right. Y'all are never really going to be enemies. But Luffy tells him, too bad. We already decided on today. And Kid just like cuts through the fight. Oh well, guess we're all going now. Let's pick directions. So they just all want to leave at the same time. And Law, of course, does not want to be seen as like, you know, following Luffy. The log posts are fixed in three directions: northeast, east, and southeast. Pick one. And both Kid and Luffy at the exact same time argue the middle one, east. Law is the one different, northeast, so I get my choice. But of course, Kid and Luffy are now arguing about what way they go. Going northeast means I move the farthest ahead. We see, it's like a weird twisty compass there. But yeah, the northeast route, I guess, does, so I guess the Grand Line moves in a sort of northeast to southwest direction, I guess. I guess so, looking at that. I'd always assumed it was like an east to west or north to south thing, but northeast is straight along the Grand Line, whereas southeast is like perpendicular, and east is a little ahead. If you know the plan, but the problem is, as they should all know at this point, there is kind of a, you know, going straight ahead does not get you to the One Piece. You need the poneglyphs first, and none of them have all four. But upon hearing Law tell them going northeast means I move the farthest ahead, both Kid and Luffy realize they've sort of been one-upped here. You pick the middle, stupid children. And Kid and Luffy have like a straws drawing contest that Luffy loses. No, I lost the straws. I'm sorry, everyone. Which does mean that like Luffy is not really progressing, you know, down the Grand Line right now. He's kind of going perpendicular to it, which again, you know, if the road poneglyph happens to be southeast, which given Luffy's whole Devil's Own luck thing, it very well might be. Like, it doesn't really matter, you know? And Usopp sort of snaps at them, every direction is dangerous. It doesn't matter, just help us load up, Luffy. And Luffy just sort of like, you know, goes on the offensive with Kid. Darn, I lost. Even though I'm an emperor of the sea, just like a brat, and Kid just growls at him. You're gonna rub it in my face, huh? But when it comes to the emperors, the one who really makes me mad, and he pulls out a sheet you know is Buggy, is him, Buggy, the genius jester Buggy. It's a fly. That's interesting. Cross Guild was our chapter title. It's the organization that Buggy is running now that's made him an emperor. And under him are Mihawk and Crocodile. Which, what the fuck, Oda? Every single thing about Buggy makes me just desperate to know more. What happened with him? Please, Oda. And I'm guessing this is Luffy's first time seeing it. Huh? What's this? It's Crocodile and Hawkeyes. And that gets Zoro's attention. What? Why are they showing like they're Buggy's followers? And Zoro just comments, huh? That's not possible. Not for Hawkeyes. But Law looks at it. Well, if he's got 2 men of their stature working for him, he deserves to be called an emperor. And Luffy is just like not like we haven't really seen Luffy's reaction. I mean, I don't think we ever saw Luffy's reaction to Buggy as Warlord. But this is our first time seeing Luffy's real reaction to Buggy at all, and especially as an emperor. You know he's an idiot, right? Just roasted him. Good old Luffy. How did that happen? But Kid comments, it seems like this Cross Guild company he leads has started putting bounties on the Navy. Okay. That's interesting. The Navy's been used to doing all the chasing, but these days they have to fear assassination from civilians. While we were stuck here in this closed nation, the world around us has changed quite a bit. That is interesting. Bounties for the Navy. I kind of, and like the last few chapters have all been sort of setting up this idea that that rebellion is growing, especially in 1054, where we see sort of like the cult status Sabo has attained amongst all these countries who saw, the aftermath of the Reverie and are now flocking to the revolution. And Buggy is just sort of exacerbating that, putting bounties on the Marines. That is fascinating. Anyway, Kid then turns back to Luffy. No complaints about our respective courses. Once we set foot outside of Wano, we're in a fight to the death like all the others. And then someone drops a cloth to Kid. And Kid just turns to Law. What is that, Trafalgar? A copy of the road poneglyph. You have just as much a right to it as we do. Only a trifling man would sneak out to a head start. Okay. So, my focus right now with that line is that, Law makes this big deal about us being enemies, about everyone being enemies now, but, actual enemies that have no problem just busting ahead of Kid right now. Kid is the only one who never got to see the road poneglyph. But he didn't, which is very interesting to me. But anyway, Killer comments, so Kaido did have one of them. The same thing we took off Big Mom's general. And Killer tells Kid, fwah. We're going to have to put all of our strength into the task if we want to take part in the all-out war over the One Piece. And Kid then comments, what, you mean finding the man with a burn scar? That's not enough to go on. The burn scar, that's Sabo, isn't it? Right? Sabo has the burn scar. Yeah, very much. Yeah, so, because there's still one missing road poneglyph, right? I know you always have to check where the poneglyphs are, but there's the one that was at one point on Fishman Island, but has since been lost. There is the one, the one in Wano, the one in Whole Cake that I guess is the one that Killer got the copy of, and then the one in Zou, which is unclear if I doubt Killer knows about the one in Zou, which puts him at one hell of a disadvantage at this last chase for the One Piece. But how is Sabo connected to the other one? Because it sure seems like if the man with the burn scar is connected to finding the One Piece, that must be Sabo. And of course, Killer's going to go into the world and see all the news about Sabo and start going after him. Which will definitely put him into conflict with a whole bunch of people. The Revolution, half the planet, Luffy. I don't know. That's an exciting little tidbit there. And Luffy turns over to them, huh? Burn scar? What do you mean? Which, I think Luffy has an idea. And we just see this really, like, solemn law for a second. Which I'm not quite clear why. And, like, Robin picks up on that. So maybe... Is it possible the poneglyph he gave to the two of them, to Kid and Killer, was not the road poneglyph, but, like, the poneglyph that was in Sukiyaki's room? I don't know. That little look of, like, darkness there, like he's played some trap. But Kid just laughs at Luffy. You don't know? Heh. Sounds like we've got the advantage. Ha ha ha. And Luffy just rages, come on, tell me. And then we come to the Flower Capital. One last time. As they call out, are you gone too, Yamato? And Yamato hears them. Is that you, Momonosuke? I'm up here. Where is it? And Kinemon questions, where is that? On the roof again? And Yamato tells like the whole country here, well, I've made up my mind. Guess I'll go to Luffy and his crew. I'm going to live the way Kozuki Oden did. To be continued. See you. Supposed to be in 2 weeks, but like this video's a week late, so it was really only like 8 more days. Okay, so this is very much an epilogue One Piece chapter, setting pieces in motion for the future. Not the same kind of like outside world stuff that 1054 did, and then we might still see later on, possibly, I don't know. But we're at the point where like it's time for the cast of Wano to decide the course of their future, and we see that really all through this chapter. Even in like little ways, Suru going to the capital to join Kinemon, Nekomamushi and Inuarashi staying in Wano to fulfill their duty to the Kozuki clan, Carrot becoming the new king/queen, depending on if that's the route they go, of Zou, which is very interesting. You know, it's certainly a route. I don't think it's what a lot of people were expecting, given the sheer number of like Carrot Straw Hat desires over the years. And you know, what other setup is there? I'm flipping through this. There's so much of this chapter. Yeah, the Sukiyaki scene isn't really set up as much as it is sort of resolution to some of the leftover plots of Wano. Even ones I didn't think we were going to get. Like, I did not think Sukiyaki was going to tell his grandchildren he was alive, even though he did. Which, I don't know, like I'm appreciative of that scene, though I'm not quite sure what changed in Sukiyaki to make him choose to reveal himself. I don't know. We also get the Straw Hats learning about Pluton a bit, and some resolution to Tama, which is always nice. But that scene, in terms of future events, you know, is maybe about Tama's training if she does come back in the final arc, or the final saga. But also it's Caribou, who's working for someone about the ancient weapons, which is very interesting, especially because I don't really think about Caribou that much. Like, maybe it's, like, Blackbeard is my first guess, but I don't think there's really any evidence of Caribou working with Blackbeard. And then we have the goodbyes here, as we learn a little bit more about the outside world, even now, along with some last bit of alliance bickering between the three captains, as they decide their next routes, with Luffy heading perpendicular to the Grand Line, while Kid and Law move a little bit forward ahead to the next island. And then we get some Buggy information, and that's the stuff that like is really sitting with me, because I love me some Buggy. What a man! But like the Crocodile and Hawkeye thing is one thing. Like it's wild, don't get me wrong, but like at least Crocodile, as a result of the Impel Downs of the Marineford stuff, has some connection to Buggy. Hawkeye joining up with Buggy is weird. I don't know what's going on there. Like those two aren't like normal people who might get caught up in Buggy's like grandiosity. They're aware that like they have to be aware that Buggy is some idiot, right? I mean, maybe they just see that like he brings in good money and has enough of a fleet that like they can stay protected from the law and also work on, you know, going after Marines. That's the really interesting thing. Like, there's a part of me that's a little disappointed that, like, Buggy's newfound status as an emperor is not a part of, like, a giant misunderstanding. It's, like, the actual work he's doing. But also, that's an interesting enough little hook that, like, I really want to know more about Cross Guild. At some point in the future, but we'll find out eventually. This is One Piece. All the answers may take time to be revealed, but they do get revealed in the end. And And then there's this bit about Sabo that is somehow tied into finding the One Piece. Could Sabo somehow have the well, okay, I don't know. The thought that just popped into my mind is that the revolutionaries have the last road poneglyph, which I suppose is a possibility. They're a powerful enough organization they could have stolen it from Fishman Island, I guess. But the question there is, why would whoever told them this tell them to find Sabo in particular? The man with the burn scar. I mean, maybe there's another guy with a burn scar, but it sure seems to be building up to Sabo, especially with Luffy's little questioning. And so who would say that? Also, the more I look at that law panel, the more it does not seem like he gave them... Like, it doesn't seem like that's a response to him giving them a fake road poneglyph. It seemed like a response to the burn scar line. And sure, Law would know Sabo. They were on Dressrosa at the same time. But, like, what does he know about that? That's a question we're gonna... I feel like that's gonna be one of those One Piece questions that we're stuck with for a couple years before we, like, circle back to. But yeah, actually, I want to think about this Yamato scene one last time, because something about it. So if the gang were headed out now, and Luffy, I'm pretty sure we've seen has been okay with Yamato joining. The question then is, why is Yamato not already with them? You know? And so I'm wondering if, I guess I'll go to Luffy and his crew, is not saying I'm going to join the Straw Hats. It's saying he's going to not join the Straw Hats and do something else instead? I don't know. I don't know why he would have that change, though we've seen with Sukiyaki, sometimes people just kind of change all of a sudden. I don't know. We'll have to wait another week to find out what's going on with that. But as per usual, I can't wait to see how that's going to go. One Piece is going to One Piece. This series is not known as like one of the greatest manga of all time for nothing. And I can't wait to see how all of these little, like, itty-bitty plot hooks that are being set up end up playing off down the line, because you know they're going to in some way, shape, or form. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes it happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!